our attention turns to those in studio with me, and I'm delighted to have the company of Pat Ring and Marla Candon with me from Foxrock, Cabinteely. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're going to need to move that mic right into you there, Marla. Okay. Welcome to the show. I had the pleasure of watching your victory on Friday night. Dublin Senior Football Championships. It's got a nice ring to it.
It does, and we're. I suppose it's all sinking in, and I must say we're very proud, and we're very proud of the players' performance on Friday night, which I think most people will agree was right out of the top drawer.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a short interview with Fiona Claffey on the night your captain. So if you put on your headphones there, we will get a chance to listen to what she spoke to Colleen Duffy a few minutes after the final whistle the other night.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I think last year we went into the county final and it was a really, really tough game and lost to Nafina, and we were devastated after that. So I think we just had to come back and rebuild again this year, and luckily enough it went well tonight, so delighted.
It's a club with so much talent, and I suppose obviously all clubs have great underage talent coming through, but if you look at it, there's players from Roscommon, Tipperary, obviously self from Westmeath, you've got Laura Nerney from Laois as well. There's great talent on this side.
Yeah, well, I suppose a lot of us, I'm in Dublin nearly 10 years myself, so we're living in Dublin, and I think a lot of us would have went to UCD together, and Foxrock Cabinteely being a local club to UCD kind of brought a lot of the players in from all over, and luckily enough, we've gelled well together, and then, obviously there's so much good homegrown players. We've so many players in the minor Dublin teams, under 21s, and then I think they won the All-Ireland failed the last couple of years as well, so there's it's a great club, and it's really, really built from the ground up, so and it's good that, you can get players in from outside the county. We're all living in Dublin, and we all know each other from college, and it's working well so far anyway.
A pretty unique club as well, because you are a ladies football club. Okay, there is boys underage coming through as well, but it's all stemmed from ladies football, which is pretty interesting in itself.
Yeah, it is. It's very unusual actually. When I first joined, I was surprised there was no men's club affiliated with it. Now I know there's a Cabinteely GA club as well, which we would have some association with, but it primarily a ladies club. Yeah, so it is quite unique, and I suppose there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, to keep the club up and running, and I suppose funding might be a bit more difficult to get when you've just got a ladies club, but we've managed so far anyway.
And managed you have, because junior and intermediate All-Ireland titles have already come to the club in its short existence. You've come on some journey since, but now I suppose to make amends at senior, you won this title a few years ago, but you didn't drive it on. Now you want to drive it on.
Yeah, we won in 2012 and we got to the Leinster final, and we were unfortunate we lost to Shiel Milleers from Wexford in that game. Obviously very disappointed, but look, we've 3 months now. I think we're not out in Leinster until late October. So we'll work towards that, and hopefully we can make up for the Leinster final we lost. But we'll just take each game as it comes. Semi-final first, and we'll go from there.
So that was Fiona Claffey's thoughts on it the other night. Fiona obviously in action both on Friday night with yourselves and with Westmeath yesterday. First of all, let's focus on Friday night's game. It wasn't really much of a contest, to be honest. Bridges never really looked like they were going to really challenge for the title. Marla, maybe your thoughts on that bit on the pitch, because myself and Pat would have been looking at the game, but bit on the pitch, it looked more physical than it was on the scoreboard.
I think any game that you play, it's a question of inches, and they had a missed penalty that could have put a different slant on the game at a time when I think it would have put us a point behind. And I think when it was in the melting pot in the first 10-15 minutes, we were quite nervous. We had quite a few wides, and I think then as we settled, we grew stronger and stronger and stronger. But we've always had good battles with Bridget's, and we certainly expected, I suppose we expected a little bit more from them by the final score.
Was the missed penalty that made a huge difference? Because you can almost visibly see the Bridget's heads dropping a little bit. Yeah,
I think that was a crucial turning point in the game. It certainly gave us some spirit to go back down and get some scores on the board. I had full faith in our goalkeeper anyway. She loves penalties. She's a bit of a mad hatter.
It's easy to say that when it wasn't.
Yeah. But I think it could have been quite different there.
Pat, yourself, you're involved with Monaghan, as is Peter Clark. Most of your management team actually is involved with Monaghan. So you as well were out on both days. Did the scheduling cause any issues for you or the players?
Not really. I think, to be fair, we all felt for Fiona more so than ourselves. Like, we had a busy week. The management team had a busy week. We were out every second night. Club Monaghan.
It must be tough walking up and down that sideline so often.
Yeah, but that's what you strive for. At this time of the year, you're at the business end of the year, and there's slack weeks during the pre-season and whatever. these are the weeks you want to be involved in. For Fiona, it was a difficult situation for her because obviously she had a county final on Friday night and she had a qualifier with Westmeath yesterday. Look, like those situations, we always leave it up to the player to make the decision. And that is the way it works. And Fiona was never under any pressure from us or from her county, to be fair. And I think we have a very good working relationship with the various county managers, particularly in Dublin, because 4 or 5 of our players have played Dublin senior. So you have to have that good, solid working relationship with the county managers and particularly with the Dublin County Board as well. You have to have that. It won't work otherwise.
You mentioned the fact that you have to deal with a lot of different counties. Most clubs don't have that luxury in some respects. Tell me a little bit more about the makeup of your team, and because obviously people talk about the number of inter-county players you have from around the country, but tell me where that comes from.
Yeah, well, I think it basically comes through the players because, I suppose we've had an association with UCD for a number of years. I've been involved training and coaching the UCD ladies 1 and 2 teams for the last 4 years. But prior to that, because we're local, a lot of our players go to UCD, and they've built up a lot of friendships. And I suppose when players come to work and live in Dublin when they graduate, they automatically say, well, look, if they're from far distances away, they say, look, well, I want to play my football in Dublin. So that's generally how it happens. But by and large, it happens through the players and through friendships. And that's how we found it has developed over the years. It's
one of the anomalies of women's sport, really, is that girls nearly rather play with their friends than with the best team. Although, ironically, in this case, it's both are the same. Yeah, Marla, yourself, you're from near me down in the country in Boyle. Although we won't ignore the county boundary for a second. Obviously, across the border in Leitrim, we were friends until we're playing you in the football. Yeah. But what's your story? You have been with Cabinteely for a lot, Foxrock Cabinteely, to give it its proper title. For your whole football career, basically?
Yeah, I never had the pleasure of playing any club football in Roscommon because there was no ladies team in Boyle when I started playing. I only started playing Gaelic in my 20s, and it was through the school that I teach in. I teach in St Patrick's Girls National School, Holly Park in Foxrock, and it's a feeder school to Foxrock Cabinteely. So it was from that I asked about playing and was told that I could play when we had an adult team, and I've been with them ever since we've had an adult team, so way back to 2004, 2005.
One of the situations that's developed in recent weeks and maybe even recent years is some of the counties, and this isn't Cabinteely or Foxrock Cabinteely in specific problem, but it's a women's football problem, is the golfing class. And we saw it the other night in terms of the much bigger margins of victory in a lot of teams. Even Monaghan that played at the weekend had a very big win over Cavan. And there's a lot of mismatches, and that's resulted in a few teams failing to fulfil. Marla, you're, I suppose, Roscommon, not a million miles from Longford, and what's the lay of the land in terms of the players' point of view? Like, are players happy enough to go out and represent the county knowing that they're probably going to take a hiding, or do you think this decision is made in the interests of the players or maybe someone else?
It's a tough one to call. The season can be very, very long, and if you're out in the winter training away and playing league games, and then finding that people are going off travelling or decide that they're not as committed as you'd like, it can be very hard then for management to put a team out, knowing that their younger, minor, more vulnerable players will take a hiding. Inter-county football is a huge commitment, and it sometimes can be very difficult for players to give up a full summer, and sometimes the county suffers as a result.
In terms of the Longford situation, I suppose, I find it hard to believe that there's not 15 girls, or maybe a panel of 25 or 26 girls who wouldn't be prepared to play for Longford. They might be not of the highest standard, but then surely the systems and the levels should legislate for that. If they're not up to the intermediate grade, they go down to junior or whatever it might be.
Yeah, you would think so. There's obviously something greater at play there with Longford, some unrest within the camp, because it doesn't seem to make sense.
Coming back to Foxrock Cabinteely as a club, it's a unique situation that it's a women's club first and foremost, and a men's or boys club has developed out of that. Where's the background for that? Why was the club set up in the first place?
Well, it came about in 2003, 2004. There was initial discussions between Foxrock Ladies, which was a small club with about 75 players, and Cabinteely, Cabinteely lady section, which had about 75 players, but all competing for, local airtime and local schools and all that. So both clubs got together and they formed a merger in 2004, 2005. But we had to do it a little bit differently because I suppose, we have Kilmacud in the next parish on our right, and we have Coola in the other parish on our left. Two very big, successful clubs and very good clubs. And for us to go in and do boys and girls, we felt wasn't going to work. So we had to do it a little bit differently. So we focused on the girls only, and we built it up to where we're back up this year now. We'll have probably 500 playing female members this year, so it's great.
Did that pose any problems in terms of facilities or resources?
Well, I suppose Cabinteely, which probably was a very strong men's club because of the affiliation there with the ladies' side, the pitch and the dressing rooms in Kilboggart were available to us. So that is our base. But we do use Cornelscourt in Cornelscourt pitch as well, which is a local parish. We have an arrangement there with the local rugby club and with Geraldine Moran's, the boys' side of it as well. So we share that facility. And we've just put in now in Kilboggart, our main pitch, a juvenile pitch. So we've 3 pitches now that we use on and off, which is great.
Marla, from a player's point of view, you mentioned off air that you've actually, as a teacher, you've actually taught some of the girls who are now on the team with you. I'm not going to try and age you here, but what kind of an experience is that these girls who you would have had to impose discipline on in school, they're now maybe giving orders to you on the pitch? Or does anybody order you on the pitch?
It's strange for them when they initially begin to train to stop calling me Miss Candon and call me by their first name, but it's a fabulous experience for me. Neve Collins, who played fantastic in the final on Friday night, I taught her in 6th class, and
nice.
We're
you've aged yourself.
Yeah, but we're very good teammates, and I don't think she ever really looks at me as her teacher anymore. It's a sport thing, but it's very fulfilling as a teacher to be able to still be able to tug out with the girls that you taught a couple of years before that.
You were the captain when they won the All-Ireland Junior a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Then part of the team that won the Intermediate Junior. How realistic are the hopes of winning the All-Ireland, this senior championship this year?
Huge. Having played football for Roscommon and been involved in an intercounty team. Our club team is run like an intercounty team. We are very committed. We have put in a huge amount of effort since January. We have core fitness programs that we follow. So we all have the same end goal, and that's to go as far as we can in this competition. And everybody has that same goal in mind.
So that's we're gunning for it.
Absolutely, 100%.
Pat, there's a few people you want to say a few words of thanks to who have been very helpful to the team this year.
Yeah, and not alone this year, but I suppose first of all, we have a new chairman in place this year, a man called Johnny Cullity, who has come in, and we've had a few issues in our club over the last couple of years. Like all clubs, there's a bit of politics goes on.
Politics in sport, really?
Yeah, but this man has managed to heal it. And where our membership had dropped because of some issues we had, but Johnny and the committee that's there in place this year, and to be fair, last year's committee before that, have made huge strides, and they've been a huge support to us, both financially and I suppose a moral support as well. I have to pay compliment to the players, the work rate that they put in, and the amount of time that they give up since January has been colossal. And we have a very, very strong management team this year. You've got
2 management teams effectively.
Yeah,
4 or 5 management teams.
You could say that, but it works very well. It's a system that works. Peter Clark, Angie McNally, Colin Carney, 3 great Dublin people, involved from other clubs originally themselves, but have put a lot into ladies football in Dublin and outside Dublin. And of course we have Ina Brophy and Niall Callan, who are involved with this team longer than I am. They're a part of our backroom team, but there's also other people that have managed to bring a lot of these players through. I mean, Jerry McGarry, Paul Hamill were with the guts of this team through 2011, 2012. Before that, you had Dermot Connolly, you had Philip McAnenley. So it's not just what's there at the minute. This is
sounds like the start of a phone book.
Yeah, but look, that's the way it is. And when we're gone,
that's what you need.
Yeah, and we do
really
have
this day and age to compete for All Ireland championships. And realistically, you need expertise in certain places.
You do, and the club is very well run. and it's very well funded from the point of view, it's a team effort, and when we're gone there'll be somebody else ready to step in as well. And also we're delighted to have on board, only announced in the last 2 weeks, Keelings have come on board as a major sponsor for our senior team, so that's going to be a huge boost for us as we head into our Leinster campaign.
That's fantastic news. Listen, thank you very much for coming in and joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you both in the studio. Marla Candon, my apologies, Marla Candon and Pat Ring, thank you for coming in. I really enjoyed the evening in Parnell Park on Friday night. Commiserations to St Bridget's, of course, who were beaten in the final. Congratulations to Foxrock, Cabinteely, and I suppose to the other teams who played finals during the week. I know Fingallians won the junior, and Clontarf were beaten by Parnells. Thank you very much for that. But beaten by Parnells on Friday night. As a former manager of Clontarf, it was a bit of a bad night for me, but it was a great night's entertainment. Even though the games weren't that close, it was a good night in Parnell Park.